I transmigrated into a web novel, a romance where the male lead was supposed to marry into a rich family, and I was his sworn enemy. The female lead, Sabrina Vance, wanted the original male lead, Ethan Hayes, to move in and essentially become a house husband. But Ethan, being all high and mighty, declared that a man who married into a family lost his dignity. I saw my chance. This was it. So I took a gamble. I blew what little pitiful savings I had on a realtor, asking her to introduce me to Sabrina Vance. Sabrina asked me why I was willing to be a house husband. I gave it to her straight. I'm greedy and lazy. I just want to live off your money. And just like that, I caught a lucky break. A huge one. When I was brought before Sabrina, she was buried in work at her computer. I curiously took her in. She had fair skin, a beautiful face, and a high-bridged nose. As the female lead, her looks were definitely top tier. She wore gold-rimmed glasses and a perfectly tailored designer suit, looking every inch the sharp, powerful executive. My heart pounded with excitement. As long as I could latch onto the female lead's success and successfully become a kept man, life would be beyond amazing. I couldn't understand why the original male lead was being so dramatic. This kind of luxury house husband gig wasn't something just anyone could snag. A moment later, Sabrina finally looked up from her computer. When she saw me, a flicker of surprise, almost admiration, crossed her eyes. But she seemed to take a while to recall who I was. Alex Reed. At the same time, the invisible chat in my head went wild. Who is this guy? I don't remember him at all. He's like the male lead's dead rival. They usually can't stand each other. What's he doing here, looking for the female lead? This is weird. He's basically an extra in this story. Why is he giving himself more screen time? Kick him out. Don't interrupt the main couple's romance. Seeing the comments, I scoffed internally. Now that I was here, I wasn't going to be some background character. The male lead could get lost. This gravy train was mine. So, once I confirmed Sabrina recognized me, I pretended my eyes lit up, feigning delight. Ms. Vance, you remember me. I'm so happy. Sabrina's expression didn't change much. She just asked the realtor why she brought me here. The realtor smiled. Ethan Hayes isn't willing to marry in, but Alex Reed says he is. She continued. His parents passed away young, and he's poor, but he's a good person, and more importantly, he's very handsome. Ms. Vance, you can see if he's suitable. If not, I'll take him away. At this, Sabrina raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. She leaned back, sizing me up, but didn't speak right away. The chat exploded. Holy crap. Holy crap. Holy crap. What is this? This guy is actually here to marry into the Vance family and steal the female lead from the male lead. Seriously, can background characters have some self-awareness? The female lead is always for the male lead. The female lead sponsored the male lead for so long and genuinely cared for him. She can't possibly agree, right? But a few days ago, when the female lead asked the male lead if he'd marry in, he flat out refused. The male lead is just playing hard to get. He doesn't want people to say he's living off her money, and he doesn't want her to control him. Yeah, if the female lead just gave him more assurances, made him feel secure, the male lead would agree to marry in. Seeing Sabrina is still silent, I spoke up. I don't have grand ambitions. I just want to marry into a rich family. Sabrina hadn't immediately rejected me, which meant I still had a chance. With a powerful woman like her, honesty might get me the result I wanted. As I expected, Sabrina showed no sign of annoyance. Her sharp gaze was fixed on me. You really don't mind marrying in? She'd had the realtor ask Ethan Hayes if he'd marry in, and he'd acted as if it were the greatest insult, refusing vehemently. Ethan had even said money wasn't everything, and he pursued an equal marriage. Ethan and I were college classmates, so she probably thought I'd be the same. But how could I possibly be like him? My tone was sincere and straightforward. I'm greedy and lazy. I just want to live off your money. Sabrina's eyes lit up at this, and she nodded in approval. Greedy is good. She had plenty of money. She just needed a pleasant and obedient husband. I forced myself to suppress my joyful excitement. In the original plot, after the male lead married into the Vance family, his life was unbelievably comfortable. He lived in a huge mansion, had servants, a driver for transportation, and a 300 grand monthly allowance. When Sabrina was in a good mood, she'd give him extra cash. This was so much better than working like a dog. Thanks to the arrogant male lead for giving me this opportunity. I had to seize it. Sabrina beckoned to me. Come here. I didn't understand why, but I walked over to her. Up close, I realized the female lead's beauty was truly dazzling, comparable to a celebrity's. If this worked out, it would be pure profit. As I looked at Sabrina, she was also scrutinizing me. I met her gaze openly. Honestly, besides really wanting to live off her money, there was another important reason I took this gamble. The original owner of this body was incredibly handsome. The original plot even said his looks were more striking than the original male leads. And Sabrina was a total sucker for a pretty face. After a few seconds of eye contact, I clearly saw the icy coolness on Sabrina's face melt away. She said softly, "What are your terms?" My face remained calm, but inside, fireworks were going off. She agreed. The chat went absolutely insane. What's happening? How can the female lead let this extra Mary in? What about our male lead? The male lead is still waiting for the female lead to offer terms. This completely screws up the plot. The male lead got his girl stolen by a background character. I can't even look. I'm out. I thought for a moment. Then I spoke plainly. 10 grand a month. 100 grand a year. I paused, then added, hand-holding, kissing, and sleeping are extra. After all, those were special services. Oh, Sabrina gave Ethan $300,000 a month, but I was confident I could make up the difference. The chat started cursing me again. Alex Reed, have some shame. Are you gold-plated? It would be faster to just rob a bank. Female lead. Hurry up and see this greedy guy for who he is. Throw him out. Exactly. Female lead. Just be patient and wait for our male lead, darling. Sabrina actually laughed when she heard me. Her laugh made her even more radiant and charming, and her voice wasn't as cold as before. Are you sure? I nodded seriously. I'm worth the price. Sabrina stared at me for a moment longer, a slight smile playing on her lips. $8 million marriage settlement, and you marry into the Vance family. She clarified. Other things are extra. Don't worry. Sabrina Vance, won't shortchange you. She paused, her expression turning serious. But let me be clear up front. You need to keep yourself respectable. Don't cause trouble outside, or I have 1,000 ways to make you regret it. Of course, I agreed without hesitation. No problem. Hesitating for a second would be disrespecting the money. The realtor, seeing the deal sealed, beamed happily. Sabrina handed me a card. Here's $50,000. Go spend it. I took the card, feeling like my future was finally secure. Good thing I acted fast. The original male lead almost got this good life. I sincerely told Sabrina, I can't just take your money for nothing. I'll stay at your place tonight. Sabrina didn't confirm or deny, simply instructed her assistant to make arrangements for me. The chat went blank for a second, then suddenly blew up. It's over. This guy got lucky. What about our male lead? This is supposed to be a sweet, doting house husband story. If the female lead changes husbands, who's going to dote on the male lead? The male lead's apartment was provided by the female lead, and his mom's medical bills too. Now that the female lead has someone else, will she still help the male lead? Ugh, I'm so worried for the male lead. It's all Alex Reed's fault. He's so bad. I've never seen a man so eager to live off someone else's money. And so, I smoothly moved into Sabrina's luxurious penthouse. Sabrina was in charge of Vance Corp. Now, so as long as she was willing, no one would dare question her choice of husband. A housekeeper showed me to a large room next to Sabrina's on the second floor. It was fully stocked. Within a single afternoon, everything I needed from clothes to toiletries had been purchased. It was incredibly fast. That evening, Sabrina went straight to her study when she came home. Once I was sure she'd finished working, I spruced myself up and went to find her. Come. I pushed the door open and saw Sabrina looking a bit tired, pinching the bridge of her nose. Something up? Sabrina asked. Her expression didn't change when she saw me, but her eyes brightened, a detail I precisely caught. I took your money, so of course, I want you to inspect the goods. I deliberately worn comfortable loungewear, even style my hair meticulously. With this face, how could I not entice a hem, attract her? The chat chattered away. Alex Reed is so shameless. He specially primped himself to see the female lead. This man is too cunning. The male lead is no match for him. By the way, now that it's come to this, does the male lead still have a chance to marry in? Get rid of this annoying guy. I want to see the male lead and female lead's slow burn romance after marriage. Sabrina probably hadn't expected me to say that. Her eyes curved, and there was a hint of smile in her voice. What if? I'm not satisfied. I smiled slightly. I guarantee your satisfaction. No returns. Come over here. Sabrina gestured for me to sit beside her. I walked over and sat close to her, even taking her hand and placing it on my well-defined abs. My good physique couldn't go to waste. Sabrina, however, froze. Her slender fingers didn't move an inch, and a faint blush appeared on her cheeks. The chat completely exploded. Alex Reed is an absolute fox. He's completely flustered the female lead. Don't let the female lead's usual fierce demeanor fool you. She's never been this close to a guy. Alex Reed is too bold. The female lead's blushing. She must be shy, right? Whoa, this pair is kind of good. Charismatic bad boy versus Ice Queen CO. Get lost upstairs. The female lead can only be the male leads. After seeing the chat, I secretly observed Sabrina. Aside from her slightly red face, somewhat glazed eyes, and a tense body, she seemed relatively composed. Realizing I was watching her, she casually ran her hand over my abs twice, then moved it away as if nothing had happened. You should go back and rest, Sabrina said, not looking at me, her tone feigning nonchalance. You two get some sleep. I leaned in slowly, gently kissed her cheek, and watching her eyes widen slightly, I showed no emotion as I turned and left with a flourish. Good night. The chat cursed me like crazy. Aya, damn you, Alex Reed. Why didn't the female lead throw him out? I don't agree. I don't agree with this marriage. Who's going to deal with this bug of a background character? Author, come out and take your beating. The more the chat cursed, the happier I was. It meant I was one step closer to success. Although Sabrina and I had signed an agreement and she'd given me a card, we weren't married yet. Everything was still up in the air. I couldn't let my guard down. Back in my bedroom, lying on the bed, I received a $100,000 transfer. The memo read, hand-holding, $10,000 caress, $30,000 kiss, $60,000 grind. This was money I earned with my own skills. That's me. That weekend, Sabrina said she was going to visit someone at a private care facility, and if I wasn't busy, I could go with her. Of course, I didn't refuse. As long as I was with her, the money would keep rolling in. The chat got a little excited. The male lead's mother is in that care facility. Is the female lead going to see her? To convince the male lead to marry in? No way, right? The female lead and Alex Reed already signed an agreement. She can't back out now, can she? Oh, I just remembered the female lead's father is also in that facility. She must be going to see her father, right? No way. The female lead barely visited him before. Why now? Everyone just watch. The female lead taking Alex Reed along is probably for the male lead's benefit. Right. She's playing hard to get, making the male lead jealous. Then he'll agree to marry in. It has to be that. While I wasn't sure who Sabrina planned to see, I certainly wouldn't give up this comfortable life easily. I was determined to live a life where everything was served to me on a silver platter. At the care facility, Sabrina told me to wait outside while she went in alone. A little while later, the chat started chattering. I thought the female lead was here to see the male lead's mother, but it turns out she's seeing her own father. The female lead just threw a stack of documents at her father, saying she'd sent his illegitimate son to prison and sold his illegitimate daughter abroad. Her father went crazy with rage. The female lead is so pitiful. Her father also married into the family, but then he cheated, which caused her mother's death. She had him institutionalized for a few years, and then sent him to this facility, saying she wanted him to witness the consequences for his mistress and children with his own eyes. No way. The female lead actually told her father she's getting married soon. Does she really mean it with Alex Reed? Then the male lead is completely finished, isn't he? But if Alex Reed knows how ruthless the female lead is to her father, will he be scared? Watching the constantly scrolling chat, I silently mused. Living off someone else's money meant understanding the stakes. Those who try to have it all, without any moral compass, deserve such an end. Sabrina's father got what he deserved. When Sabrina came out, I noticed her eyes were a little red. I said nothing, asked nothing, just reached out and pulled her into a hug. She stood still, resting quietly against my chest. Just then, I saw a familiar figure. The male lead, Ethan Hayes. I hadn't expected him to actually be here. Ethan naturally spotted me too, his eyes practically overflowing with disdain and disgust. In the original plot, the reason he and the original me were sworn rivals was that we were both exceptionally good-looking and constantly compared. The original me was always a slacker, lacked ambition, and constantly talked about living off a rich woman, which Ethan felt was an insult to be compared to. Anyway, I was much better than Ethan, that hypocrite who wanted both fame and fortune. Ethan was about to leave when Sabrina, in my arms, suddenly pulled away. When Ethan saw Sabrina, his gaze paused, and his expression instantly changed. The chat also became excited. Here it comes. Here comes the classic love triangle showdown. The male lead sees Sabrina with someone else. He must be getting anxious. Is there a chance the female lead might change her mind? They're not married yet, after all. Who knows? Anyway, the female lead isn't married yet, so anything's possible. Sabrina gave Ethan a faint nod, but didn't speak. Ethan's gaze shifted between Sabrina and me. Then he adopted a knowing expression. Ms. Vance, are you here for me? Before Sabrina could speak, he continued on his own. Ms. Vance, I believe I've made it quite clear. Even if you've done me favors, I will not marry into the Vance family. Sabrina looked at Ethan's arrogant face and suddenly chuckled. You're overthinking it. I'm here today for my own business, and it has nothing to do with you. Ethan, however, clearly didn't believe her. You've had your realtor ask me no less than 10 times before. Do you have another preferred candidate besides me? Watching the male lead's overly confident demeanor, I scoffed internally. Such a narcissist. Sabrina choosing him before naturally meant she had some affection for him. But it was definitely not a case of him or no one. As the female lead, with her wealth and beauty, what kind of man couldn't Sabrina have? Earlier, when Ethan saw Sabrina and me together, he was clearly displeased, yet he tried to act nonchalant. It showed he secretly wanted to marry in, but his pride forced him to put on an act. Sabrina's brow furrowed slightly. She took my hand. Alex Reed, he's the house husband I've chosen. At these words, Ethan's eyes widened instantly, and his face turned grim. The chat went completely wild. Holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. The female lead just confirmed Alex Reed. So the male lead and female lead are officially over. Why was the male lead so stubborn? He clearly liked the female lead too. How did it turn out like this? Ugh, now Alex Reed gets to live the good life. My heart aches for the male lead. Ethan seemed to take a while to process it. When he looked at me again, his eyes were filled with jealousy and hatred. He seemed unable to believe it, asking again, Ms. Vance, you previously said you'd give me some time to consider. Sabrina's demeanor was distant, her tone cold. Since you're unwilling, I certainly won't force you. Otherwise, people might think Sabrina Vance, can't find a man willing to have me. Ethan pursed his lips, then suddenly pulled an auction invitation from his pocket. This is what you gave me last time. You said if I had time. Sabrina cut him off directly. You can deal with that yourself. Throw it away or give it to someone else, whatever you want. I'll be getting married soon, and I'll be very busy. Ethan's face went pale instantly, a flash of humiliation crossing his features. The chat buzzed noisily. The female lead gave him the invitation before, but he didn't agree directly, just said he'd go if he had time. In the original plot, the female lead bought the male lead $300 million worth of real estate at that auction. The male lead missed out on millions. Sigh, it's too late for anything now. If there's nothing else, we need to go. Sabrina took my hand, preparing to leave. Ethan suddenly blocked our way. He pursed his lips, as if making a huge decision. Ms. Vance, no. Sabrina, actually, I'm not completely indifferent to you. As long as you agree to one condition, I can also agree to marry in. Crap, this guy still wasn't giving up. The chat exploded. The male lead's desperate. He's offering to marry in. Will the female lead agree? Oh no, Alex Reed is in danger. This is going to be good. Haha. The female lead will definitely agree. After all, the male lead was her carefully chosen one. How could she just discard him? I felt a little nervous too. Sabrina was the female lead, Ethan was the male lead. If I forced my way in, could I really change the plot? Would the story correct itself? Sabrina sensed me looking at her and squeezed my hand tighter. She smiled at Ethan. Make sure to come to our wedding. With that, she didn't spare Ethan another glance, pulled my hand, and walked past him to the car. Through the rearview mirror, I saw Ethan still standing there motionless, like a statue, watching us drive away. Just then, my phone received another $100,000 transfer. Hand-holding, $20 was of a pug, $80 0. I glanced at the expressionless Sabrina beside me and happily kissed her cheek. I was definitely holding onto Sabrina's coattails. 2 weeks later, Sabrina and I got married. Sabrina, as the CEO of Vance Corp, had all the major players in the city attending the wedding. The guest list was huge, and the wedding venue was incredibly lavish. On my side, besides a few friends, I didn't have any relatives. However, to my surprise, Ethan actually showed up, sitting at the same table as my friends. TCH, he and I were sworn rivals. The nerve of him. The chat was also excited. The male lead is here. Is he going to crash the wedding? Is the plot going back on track? Crossing my fingers. After the wedding ceremony, it was time for toasts. When Sabrina and I approached my friend's table, they all stood up to congratulate me. Only Ethan remained seated, his face grim and motionless. He held his glass, knuckles white. I smiled and raised my glass to everyone. Thank you all for coming to my wedding. I'd like to toast you. My friends echoed my sentiment, offering blessings and downing their drinks. Ethan still didn't move, his cold gaze fixed on me, as if trying to bore a hole through me. I acted as if I didn't notice his hatred, smiling and raising my glass to him. Ethan Hayes, since you're here, won't you have a drink to celebrate? I had successfully achieved my goal of living off her money, so I wasn't going to hold a grudge. If he hadn't been so self-righteous and repeatedly rejected the female lead, I wouldn't be enjoying this wonderful life of having everything handed to me. Ethan finally seemed to snap. He shot up from his chair, which scraped across the floor with a harsh screech. He sneered, Alex Reed, you certainly have your methods. He spoke through gritted teeth, his eyes full of jealousy and hatred. Does that comfortable life sit well with your conscience? A strange silence immediately fell over the surroundings. Sabrina's expression remained unchanged, a faint smile still playing on her lips. The chat started up again. Is the male lead finally going to make a stand? But isn't it a bit late? But he's the male lead, the official pairing. He should be the groom. Right, support the official pairing. However, there were dissenting voices. But the female lead is married now. Isn't it bad form to say that on someone's happy day, I'm just here for the sweet romance? Whoever the female lead dotes on, I'll support. Exactly. The male lead is out of the game. He just looks like a clown now. I was surprised that some of the chat was now supporting me. Looking at Ethan's furious expression, I smiled, a particularly dazzling smile. I couldn't be bothered with him and turned to Sabrina instead. Honey, is this guy trying to crash the party? Sabrina's voice wasn't loud, but every word was clear. Someone please escort him out. As soon as she spoke, 2 bodyguards immediately stepped forward and gestured for Ethan to leave. Ethan's face was ashen, his chest heaving with rage. Alex Reed, you're just a good-for-nothing house husband. I wasn't annoyed in the slightest, just smiled and said, you want to live off someone else's money but can't. That's why you're upset. Sabrina stepped forward then, speaking in a threatening voice. Ethan Hayes, remember your place. Remember Alex's place now. He is my husband, Sabrina Vance's husband. She paused, then said coldly, if anyone makes my husband unhappy, I will make sure they suffer. Ethan naturally didn't dare offend Sabrina. His face turned ghostly white, and he shut his mouth in humiliation. Eventually, he left the hotel in disgrace. Sabrina reassuringly squeezed my hand. We exchanged a knowing smile. The chat was extremely excited. Alex Reed is interesting. He doesn't care at all about people calling him a house husband. Female lead powerfully defending her husband. Love to see it. The male lead and female lead are over. He's completely out of the game. Sigh. The male lead is a bit pathetic. What about his mom's high medical bills now? The male lead being pathetic isn't the female lead's fault. Whose mom? Whose responsibility, right? The plot is so broken I can't even watch. The male lead must be regretting everything now. Who cares? As long as the female lead is happy. That evening, Sabrina had some business engagements, so I returned to the bedroom first. I washed up and prepared some treasures on the bed. When Sabrina came in, I immediately handed her a drink. She drank it without a word. Honey, what do you like? I could do anything, guaranteed to satisfy. I had to let Sabrina know that choosing me as her house husband was worth every penny. The chat was going wild. Is this a scene I'm allowed to see? Blushing and peeking through my fingers. I want high def, no pixelation. Sabrina's face was slightly flushed, her eyes a little red. She gently tugged at my collar and said in a voice only we could hear, I like it. Slow and steady. Just as I was about to make a move, Sabrina's phone suddenly rang. She looked at it, then, without a moment's hesitation, hung up. It's Ethan. I've already blocked him. Sabrina didn't hide it. I recalled the original plot. Ethan came from a poor background, and Vance Corp had a sponsorship program. He was always among those receiving aid. After college, students sponsored by Vance Corp came to express their gratitude, and that's when he met Sabrina. Sabrina learned of his struggles, including attending school with a sick mother, so she also paid for his mother's medical bills. Later, after Sabrina had her father institutionalized and took over Vance Corp, she wanted Ethan to marry in. She'd had the realtor ask several times, but he'd always refused. Now that Sabrina was married to me, he was suddenly desperate. Too late, unfortunately. Tonight, I would let Sabrina know how good I was. I handed Sabrina the specially selected silk slip. Honey, this really suits you. Sabrina took it, turned, and went into the bathroom. Soon, the sound of running water filled the air. I thought for a moment, then went and knocked on the door. The door opened a crack, a wave of steam hitting me. I saw Sabrina's beautiful face covered in water, looking very inviting. I swallowed. Honey, let me come in and help you. I'm very good at taking care of people. Sabrina reached out a fair, tender hand, pulled me inside, and closed the door. The chat excitedly set off fireworks. What a wonderful night. The days that followed were, of course, incredibly blissful, comfortable both physically and mentally. Sabrina praised my professional skills and gave me another black card. One day, I brought Sabrina the health drink the chef had prepared. She'd only taken a few sips when her assistant entered, saying Ethan Hayes wanted to see her. I'm Busse. The assistant looked troubled. Mister, Hayes is causing a scene downstairs. He's demanding to see you, she continued. He says if you don't see him, he'll jump from the building. There are a lot of onlookers outside now. I narrowed my eyes. What was Ethan up to? Honey, maybe just see him, I suggested. Sabrina glanced at me, patted the spot beside her for me to sit, then told her assistant to bring him up. The CEO's office door opened, and Ethan walked in. Sabrina, honey. When he saw me beside Sabrina, his face changed instantly. What are you doing here? I shrugged. Why shouldn't I be here? Ethan glared at me with boundless hatred, then looked dejectedly at Sabrina. Sabrina, actually, do you know? I'm the male lead, and you're the female lead. I should be your husband. We're the official pairing. His expression grew manic, and he became increasingly agitated. Alex Reed is just an extra. He has no right to marry you. He went on, you should marry me. Give me the mansion, the car, the company's stock, and for my sake, reject everyone who pursues you. The moment he said, I'm a male lead, I knew Ethan had awakened. At the same time, the chat began to scroll furiously. Holy crap, what is the male lead talking about? Is Ethan Hayes crazy? How does he know he's the male lead and talking about the female lead and official pairing? Too much information. My CPU is fried. How does the male lead know the original plot? Is he a transmigrator, or has he awakened? After his agitated speech, Ethan looked eagerly at Sabrina. I also watched her curiously. Sabrina's face was expressionless. She didn't even twitch an eyebrow. Clearly, she took his words for lunacy. Ethan grew anxious. He took a few steps forward, his voice laced with a strange lure. Sabrina, believe what I'm saying. If you marry me, the plot can return to its proper course, and we'll have a happy ending just like in the original story. We'll even have children. He continued, "You're the female lead. You have to follow the plot. Otherwise, this world might cease to exist." Sabrina finally seemed unable to hold back a chuckle. She said with utter disgust, "Ethan Hayes, I think you've truly lost your mind." She added, "You're even making up stories to try and ruin my marriage. Now you want to marry in? You need to ask yourself if you're even worthy." She finished, "In every way, you can't compare to my husband. I advise you to stop dreaming." Sabrina concluded, "I don't believe a single word you just said." Ethan was completely dumbfounded. His whole body trembled uncontrollably. Red-eyed, he argued, "Sabrina, everything I'm saying is true. You have to believe me. I love you so much. I couldn't possibly lie to you." Sabrina said coldly, "Get out. If you dare spout such nonsense again, I will not let you off easily." I knew she didn't want to completely destroy Ethan, as they had known each other for many years. Putting everything else aside, Ethan was quite a capable person. Hearing her words, all the color drained from Ethan's face. He stared at Sabrina for a few seconds, an astonishing chill erupting in his eyes. Then he suddenly turned to me. "It's you. You ruined my marriage. You deserve to die." With that, Ethan suddenly pulled out a knife and lunged at me, stabbing fiercely. Sabrina, terrified, her eyes wide, tried to stop him, but it was too late. As Ethan's gleaming dagger flashed toward me, I showed no fear. With a swift, clean kick, I struck his wrist. Clang! The dagger clattered to the floor. I seized Ethan's hand and instantly executed an over-the-shoulder throw, slamming him hard to the ground and easily subduing him. Sabrina, still shaken, called security, who dragged away the wildly screaming Ethan. The chat side, "Is the male lead crazy? He actually tried to commit assault in the office." He might have a point, though. If not for Alex Reed, the female lead would have been his wife. But hurting someone is illegal. Send a male lead to jail. Good thing Alex Reed reacted fast. But when did he get so good? The female lead must hate the male lead now. His life is going to be rough. "Honey, are you okay?" Sabrina rushed over, checking me up and down. My tone was light. Not a scratch. Trying to hurt me? Not possible. I knew all too well that female-oriented novels always featured kidnappings, druggings, or affairs. So, ever since I started living off her money, I'd been working out and learning various self-defense techniques. Every time I went out, I brought at least 2 bodyguards. Sabrina frowned, still looking worried. I smiled and smoothed her brow. "Honey, don't worry. I won't let anyone lay a hand on me." I winked. "Want to touch my hand? Special today, $5 grand. Sabrina touched my hand. Then she suddenly tilted her head back, her gaze lingering on my lips. "Then, Akish," I said matter-of-factly, "that can't be special priced here." I added, "But because you're my wife, I'll give you a freebie today." I leaned in slightly, giving her a light, quick kiss on the lips. It was like a butterfly touch, fleeting. Just as I was about to pull away, Sabrina suddenly grabbed my collar and deepened the kiss. As our breaths mingled, she murmured, "I'll give you double the price." Sabrina and I officially started our honeymoon. Occasionally, a few chat comments about the male lead would drift across my vision. The male lead is so pathetic. Last time, he was locked up in jail for a few days and even lost his job. His mom's medical bills are overdue too. The male lead can't afford to pay for anything now. The mansion the male lead lived in was also taken back by the female lead. Now he doesn't even have a place to live. Ugh, Alex Reed's good life was supposed to be his. How did it turn out like this? Oh, that bad? Well, that put my mind at ease. My people were monitoring the male lead at all times, reporting his situation to me constantly, just in case he tried anything. Just as we were nearing the end of our honeymoon, good news arrived. Sabrina was pregnant. That day, the chat suddenly exploded. Holy crap, the male lead and his mom are fighting. Super fiercely, the male lead is glaring and cursing his mom. If you hadn't insisted I string Sabrina along to get a better hold of her, she wouldn't have married someone else. You're not just a burden, you're a disaster. What's the point of living? Might as well die. The male lead's words are too harsh. At least his mom was. His mom was already sick, and she just cried when the male lead cursed her. Sigh, the male lead is still cursing. No, he actually hit his mom. Damn, this violent guy. Trash. I misjudged him. The chat paused for a second, then suddenly blew up. Holy crap. The male lead actually pushed his mom to the ground. So much blood from her head. Is the male lead okay? Is he going to jail again? Why does he love being a criminal so much? The male lead didn't call an ambulance, and he ran off with his phone. Damn male lead. Good thing the female lead didn't marry him. He's absolutely despicable. Ran off? I immediately contacted my people, telling them to check the situation and help call the police. Later, Ethan's mother died due to irreversible injuries. Ethan was wanted by the police. Unfortunately, he only managed to escape for half a day before being caught. After all, my people were always watching him. When Sabrina was far along in her pregnancy, she moved into the hospital. Lying in bed, she asked me, "Honey, what if I don't want to work anymore in the future?" Of course, I disagreed. "No way, honey. You have to work. The baby and I are counting on you." Sabrina gently punched me. "What if I go bankrupt?" I squeezed her hand. "Don't say such depressing things. The baby and I are counting on you." Sabrina feigned anger, glared at me, and turned her head away. I laughed, gently turned her head back, and kissed her cheek. "Don't worry. All the money you've given me, I've saved. Even if you go bankrupt, I can still take care of you both." I paused. "But, honey, please don't go bankrupt because I really, really love living off your money." Sabrina burst out laughing. "Okay, I'll make sure you get to live off my money for life. Honey, you're the best. Quiche." Sabrina gave birth to a boy and a girl, twins. Later, she had another daughter. My days at home mainly consisted of playing with the kids, which wasn't tiring at all. With nannies and a chef, I barely had to lift a finger. Occasionally, my favorite thing to do was travel, ski, hike. Sabrina and I continued, as always. She worked hard, and I dedicated myself to being a kept man. Sabrina would also give me money from time to time, buying me cars, properties, and luxury goods. So much money, I couldn't possibly spend it all. This simple, understated life was exactly what I wanted. The end. End.